So many people here tonight, and also in my favourite bookshop. You know, I love this place, and there are a couple of more exciting things because Annie Evatt, my publisher from Australia, I mean, she didn't just come for this reading tonight, she's doing other things in Europe, but she's here with the family, and Sharon Ruttheiser, who does all my covers, and there's this one as well, is also here, and it's just wonderful having all this support. So thank you very much. Mercury Blobs is a collection of stories that I used to be called Mercury Blobs by a writing teacher years ago, because he'd say, you're like a blob of mercury, you're all over the place, drop you on the lab floor, you're beautiful but you've got no structure. And so I was nicknamed Merc for a long time. I still am by people from that time. And I'm getting on a bit, and I'm sort of very conscious of time going by, and I didn't want to self-publish, but Annie Evatt and I, or Annie Evatt as the publisher of this, we were part of an editorial group that salvaged New Sun Rising Stories for Japan to raise money for the Fukushima appeal through the Japanese Red Cross. And I'm very proud to say that Frederica Burka gave us a poem and a translation through her official translator for this book, and there are some fabulous people from all over the world. Sharon has some artwork in it, Ida has a story in it, and we're very proud of this. It's already raised about €350 in royalties, and you know that Amazon takes, you know, you don't get that much in the end, but that we've sent to the Red Cross. And so when Annie and I got this out, and under her imprint in Australia, in Brisbane, Raging Aardvark, I said to her, hey, we work so well together, will you be my publisher? And
I said, sure.
And she said, sure. And so that's what started
with you again.
This wonderful thing. And so Mercury Blobs was put together. A young writer, editor, Nick Perring in the UK, because I was a bit nervous. I didn't want to let Annie down. And so I wrote to him and I said, look, Nick, will you just tell me, here's all my stuff. I can't see it anymore. What goes in, what goes out, what order do you think would work? And so he did. And I'd met Robert Allen Butler at a conference over several years, and he asked me, what are you doing? And I said, a collection I'm putting together that no publisher would touch, not with the name Mercury Blobs, not with me insisting on wanting artwork from my friend Sharon Ruttheiser, who does all my covers. And he said, well, send it to me. And I said, it's not your sort of thing. And he said, let me be the judge of that. Anyway, I didn't send it because I was scared. And at Christmas he said, look, did you send the thing? Because I've lost it, I haven't got it. And so I sent it. And then I was shaking like mad thinking, then I wrote to him saying, look, if this isn't your thing, please don't put your name to it. And he came back and he said, this is wonderful. He gave me a beautiful blurb on the book, and I'm so proud that Robert Allen Butler, who I think is one really terrific writer, flash fiction he does too. He's got a fabulous book called Severance, if you ever come across that, and a few other books. Just look up his Amazon. He's writing mysteries and crime novels now as well, and he won the Pulitzer for a short story collection about Vietnam. Anyway, this is Mercury Blobs. Before I start there, just to get all the books out of the way, there's a little old lady who lives down the back of my garden whose name is Astrid L. She writes erotic tales, and this book isn't really available yet, but again, Sharon was kind enough to do this beautiful cover and black and white artwork throughout the book, which the pieces are really lovely. And this little old lady down the back of my garden, trying to steal my thunder, has also got a book out. Is it in English? Of course it's in English. She's an Anglo little old lady. You know, I keep her under. Anyway, so
we don't let her out very often, do we?
That being said, Raging Aardvark again has agreed to publish that, and I'm really grateful. I'm so happy you're here. So with not much further ado, I thought it's not flash fiction. There's a lot of flash fiction in here. Today is what the Brits call National Flash Fiction Day, but I call it International Flash Fiction Day. There's a flash mob going on, people from all over the world. It's flashing all over the way, all over the place. And so there's some very short pieces in here, quite a few of them, but I do have some longer stories. I thought I'd start with, say, 1 or 2 of the longer stories. We have a break, and then I'll give you 5 or 6 flash pieces. Is that okay? Okay. A lot of these stories I've seen in retrospect seem to have been triggered by, through, or in Vienna. The first one that I'm going to read to you, actually I got the idea in a cafe in Floridsdorf that's just been renovated, Cafe Fichtel. Anyway, it's called the Burka. She was swathed in black. All I could see were her eyes. She asked if she could have my used tea bag. I nodded and gestured that she might sit down. She said she could wait. Asked, could she wait? I nodded again and sipped my tea. We were alone in the old cafe, alone except for the elderly waiter who now approached us. Just water, she said. Plain. Plain she was not. At least not those eyes. Why do you want my tea bag? I asked. I'm an artist, she said. I recycle. I had a vision of a woman in a burqa on a bike swinging old tea bags. Performance? She laughed. The waiter placed a tumbler of water before her on the small round table separating us. She took hold of the glass and lifted her veil. She drank and placed the glass 1/3 empty or 2/3 full back on the table. I dry them and create collages with the tea and the scraps of bag. I even use the staples and the string. It wasn't my opinion of art. My works are beautiful and they sell, she said. I'd like to see. But can you? Her eyes were laughing. I lifted the tea bag from my cup, laid it on the side of the saucer. Squeeze it, she said. With the back of my spoon, I squeezed it, as much liquid as I could from the tea bag, and placed the spoon back on the saucer. There was a slight tinkle before it became still. I slipped my hand under the table and gripped my knee. With 2 fingers, she took the tea bag by the string and held it to her nose. Darjeeling, she said, and pulled my paper napkin to her side of the table and placed the tea bag upon it. I shrugged. Tea was tea. Oh no, they're all different sorts, she said. Generic is an illusion. But you, me, I mean all in black. You mean my burqa? Yes. I had been avoiding any mention of the black garment. I was open-minded. I had nothing against burqas, if that was the way these women wanted to dress. It did draw attention to their eyes. She did have lovely eyes. In a way, it was a change from the exposed breasts and tight pants, short skirts and teetering heels that had become daily fare on my way to the office at the ministry. I didn't agree with the ban in the works. No burqas in public. Funny that. Their men welcomed no burqas at home, I imagined. They wanted to see their luxurious hair, their bodies, their smiles. I would have liked to have seen her smile. You mean my burqa, she repeated. Yes, I said. Does it excite you? Make you wonder? No. Yes. Do you think that all women who cover themselves are the same? I hesitated. They all did look the same, all that black. Just the eyes, but her eyes, they were lovely. They glistened, and there was something provocative, teasing in their look. Do you? I cleared my throat. With a fingernail, she was dislodging the tea from one end of the bag. I imagine. What do you imagine? I shifted in my seat. I imagine that you have long, luxurious hair. Is that all? Yes, of course. Why? Because, I cleared my throat again. I read somewhere that your hair is sacred. In your world, I mean. Suddenly she looked around. The cafe was still empty. The waiter was nowhere to be seen. She quickly pushed back the black material from her head and slipped open her veil. Nefertiti. Cancer, she said, but I'm on the mend. Then she readjusted her burqa and veil. My heart was thumping so loudly I was sure she could hear. Your face is flushed, she said. Your heart must be pounding. I thought, I imagined, I've never actually spoken to a woman like me. Yes. Would you like another cup of tea? I breathed steadily. Will you join me? I do need the tea bag, she said. Her eyes were laughing again. Perhaps mint this time for the contrast? The contrast. I'd had about enough contrast for one day. I looked into her eyes and then nodded weakly. I motioned the waiter to bring 2 mint teas. My name is Hava, she said. It is like your Eve. I started to laugh and then stopped. What is so funny? Nothing, I said, as the scent of mint wafted to our table. We squeezed our tea bags and I passed mine, now steadily, towards her saucer and gently laid it down. My name is Adam. Generic is an illusion, I thought. It really is, she said. I stared at her. I see you can see now, she said. Then she slipped a business card from the folds of her burka and pushed it across the table to me. My exhibition will be next month. This is the gallery. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you, I thought, as I took the card and put it in my wallet. There'll be refreshments, she said. The only tea bags will be in my art. Then she placed a small metal box on the table and slipped the 3 tea bags inside it, nodded at me, rose and left. I watched her black silhouette leave the cafe, watched her disappear. Then I brought my cup of mint tea close to my nose and breathed in deeply. Thank you to